Hi there. Welcome to my channel. This channel ponders interesting questions and sometimes offers a real tangible answer. Other times it leaves the listener to decide. I would love to hear your feedback in the comments for questions you would like answered or simply pondered upon. Also, whilst I have you here, most of our listeners are not subscribers, so if you like my content, please hit that like and subscribe button, and hopefully with your help, I can reach my target audience. This is a YouTube channel created with AI and is being fed the questions and specific talking points and pointers from its creator. Please do provide some feedback to help us evolve the channel to be even better. Sorry for the long intro. That's it for now. Let's get on to the question. Thank you. What's the meaning of life? 42. Don't worry, that's only a joke. It's a very old joke, really. From The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The idea that some vast computer is asked the biggest question, the ultimate question, and after all this time it delivers an answer. Just a number, 42. And part of why it sticks is because it's funny in a quiet way, because it feels familiar. Like the way a lot of answers sound when the question is too big. Sometimes the response isn't wrong exactly, it's just missing the shape of the question, or the question is missing its own shape. In that story, the punchline isn't only that the answer is 42, it's that nobody really knows what the question was, and that feels oddly accurate. Because when I ask, what's the meaning of life, I notice I'm also asking, which life, and what I mean by meaning, and whether I want an explanation, or a direction, or comfort. Meaning and purpose get tangled up here. They sound like the same thing when said fast. Purpose can be a job for the day, something functional, like, this tool is for cutting, this key is for opening, this plan is for getting from here to there. Meaning feels different. Meaning is what something points to, what it carries, what it becomes in memory. A conversation can have meaning, even if it had no clear purpose. A small kindness can have meaning, even if it didn't achieve anything measurable. So when someone asks, what's the meaning of life, sometimes they're asking for purpose, a role, a task list, something that makes the day feel justified. And sometimes they're asking for meaning in the softer sense, the feeling that life signifies something, that it isn't just motion. And the number 42, it kind of teases that. Like maybe life isn't a riddle with a single correct entry. Maybe it's more like a conversation that keeps changing depending on who is speaking and when and what they've lived through. On an individual level, the meaning of life seems personal. It can change with age, or with a season, or after a loss. Some days it's simple. Make breakfast, answer a message, step outside and feel the air. And that can be enough meaning for a day. Other days the question gets heavy again. What's the meaning of life? Not just my Tuesday, not just my current mood. Life, all of it. And then the scale shifts, because as a human race, meaning gets more complicated. There are billions of separate inner worlds, different histories, different needs, different fears. So any single sentence starts to feel too small, too clean, like trying to hold the ocean in a cup. But I keep circling back to something that doesn't feel like a slogan, something quiet and basic. That meaning might be less about solving and more about relating. Love, for one, not as a grand performance, just the act of caring in the plain sense. The willingness to notice another life as real as your own, to keep space for it, to soften around it. Love can be romantic, sure, but it doesn't have to be. It can be friendship. It can be patience. It can be the decision to not make everything a fight. And living, which sounds obvious, but I don't mean simply being alive. I mean participating. Being here for the moments that are actually happening, not rushing past them looking for the real part later. Sometimes the meaning is just in being present enough to register what's already true. And then there's longevity. That word can sound technical, but I don't mean it in a cold way. I mean the continuation of life. The fact that if life ends too quickly, the question collapses. If a person doesn't get the chance to grow, to learn, to heal, to connect, then meaning doesn't have time to form. And if humanity doesn't last, if we don't manage to keep going, then whatever the meaning of life is at a larger level becomes harder to even approach. It's like trying to read a book that keeps getting torn out of your hands. So maybe at the scale of a species, one part of the meaning of life is to make life last, to protect the conditions where living can continue long enough for deeper meaning to be discovered, or created, or negotiated between us. Not in a heroic way, just in the steady way, reducing unnecessary harm, keeping things going, helping love and life prosper enough that we have time. Because the strangest thing about the question, what's the meaning of life, is that it's also a question asked from inside life. It's life trying to understand itself. It's not an outside observer measuring a specimen. It's a living mind asking while it breathes, while it worries, while it hopes a little, even if it pretends not to. And maybe that's why the answer can't be a clean number. 42 works as a joke because it's tidy, but lived meaning is rarely tidy. It's layered, it contradicts itself, it changes. Purpose can be assigned, meaning is often grown. A person might have a purpose that looks impressive and still feel empty. Another person might have no clear purpose and still feel a deep sense of meaning in small routines, small bonds. So when I ask what's the meaning of life, I try to be careful about which hunger I'm naming. Some part of me wants a final answer, something I can put on a shelf and stop thinking about, but another part doesn't, because the searching is oddly intimate. It keeps me honest. It keeps me aware that time is passing and that the passing matters. If I had to land somewhere softly, I'd say, the meaning of life is to love, to live, and to help life continue, not as a rule, not as a command, just as a way the question starts to feel answerable without being solved. And I don't think that's the same for everyone. On the individual level, the meaning of life might be art, or learning, or building, or listening, or repairing, or simply being gentle when it would be easier not to be. It might be raising someone, or making something, or understanding something, or surviving something. But as a group, as a whole species, maybe we need enough shared ground to keep the conversation going, enough stability, enough care, enough continuity, so that we can live long enough to keep asking, and to maybe, slowly, collectively shape a better question. If anything in this feels true, or if it doesn't, I'd actually like to hear what comes up for you, what meaning means in your own words, because maybe that's part of it too. Not arriving at the same answer, but staying in the same room with the question, together. That's about it from me. Thank you for spending this time with me. If you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.